Hello, and thank you for calling the Temple of Enlightenment International Spiritual Center. My name is Issachar Bey, and this is the Millionaires of the Bible series call. I want to welcome you back to the call. We are excited about getting into this new chapter on this Sunday. We're excited about being in the month of October. Want to go ahead and give a special happy birthday to all of the Libras, all of those celebrating birthdays in the month of October. To all the Libras, we want to say happy birthday, and we are helping you celebrate this month to all the Libras. We also are glad to have the master teacher, Reverend Israel Malik Esters, back with us. I don't know if you guys have been on the call that he had, a couple of calls he had last week. I believe he will be on tonight at 9 p.m. He will be doing his calls on Sunday nights now, so we will continue to do our calls on Sunday morning. We're excited about the return of Reverend Esters and also look forward to his great in-depth teaching and getting that word that we have been longing for such a time as this. I wanted to also put into the atmosphere that this month of October is a good month for us to move into balance. That's the word the Spirit gave me for the month of October, is to find balance. Find balance in everything that you do. Find harmony. Find balance. And what balance really means is, somebody could say, well, I feel like my life is out of order. But balance literally means that I'm balanced on my spiritual side as well as being balanced in the physical realm. That's what balance means. It means that I'm not too earthly minded, that I'm no heavenly good, or I'm too heavenly minded that I'm no earthly good. It means that in every aspect I'm striving for balance. Balance in my finances, balance in my home, balance in my career, balance in my business, balance in every aspect of your life. We are moving into balance for the month of October. And so we are definitely looking into that. Spirit also gave me another word as well. And those that haven't, he that has an ear, let him hear. I would tell you guys that it's imperative that we stay connected to divine source and that we stay connected, which means through meditation. I would recommend that everybody take some time out every day to just meditate and stay connected. These next few months that we're getting ready to go into are going to be very, very interesting. And we need to make sure that we're on the right course, that we're moving and operating in the right direction, in the right way. And so we want to make sure that we are connected. I would tell everybody that this Christmas is going to be far like none other Christmas you've ever seen. And I would actually, if I were you, I would listen to the word. I would actually tell you that now is the time for you to start Christmas shopping. I know a lot of us are waiting for Black Friday. We wait till like November, but I would actually summon you to start doing it now. This is going to be a very interesting Christmas. It's going to be like none other. We shall see. But I would summon you all to start your Christmas shopping as soon as possible and start getting the things that you need to get and get them out of the way. Because you will see that this Christmas is going to be one for the history books. We are entering into a time where I would say the world is going through what some people call it a reset. That's what they've been saying, the global reset, that we're going through a reset. But actually, we're going through transitional change. America is going through a very pivotal change from 2021 going into 2022, and it's going to be different, and how things begin to shift and how things are going to begin to align themselves. We're going to be seeing things change before our very eyes. Operations, statutes, laws, rules that we normally had in place, things will begin to change. You will see certain states that will have certain things going on as far as what you can and can't do in one state, you can do in another state, and this state doesn't agree with what the other state is doing, and you'll see a lot of that. You'll see a very, very strategic emphasis on travel. You'll see that coming into play as well. But I don't want you to be discouraged. Change happens. I always say that there's no such thing as a good change or a bad change. The only thing that determines the change that we experience is how we react to the change. And understand this, and I think that this is key, that no matter what happens in the outer world, what happens in the physical ramifications of the world we live in, we still create our own reality. We still can live the life that we need to live. No matter what shifting or changes are being made in the outer physical reality, as long as we still understand the laws of cause and effect, we can and will always be able to create our own reality and still live the life that we've always wanted to live. We can still have our heart's desires. We can be what we want to be, have what we want to have, do what we want to do. And if we can hold on and stay in that level of consciousness, it will be absolutely profound, the things that you will begin to encounter as you begin to utilize and move into these things. You know, this time, the times that we're living in now are times where it may seem of uncertainty because we're experiencing things that we never experienced before. But in actuality, there's nothing new under the sun, which means that they went through the bubonic plague. They went through their pandemics. There's been pandemics on Earth before. We just never experienced them. But there's nothing new under the sun, which means that the things that are going on right now are things that happened before. And so with that being said, is you still want to stay your course, stay connected. Don't allow yourself to get shifted, scared. Don't allow fear to come in to throw you off course of what it is that you want to do, have, and be able to manifest in your reality. So with that being said, as I said before, just make sure that we are staying connected to the divine source, that we're staying connected, because it is the divine intuition, that divine power that we have within us that is going to lead us and guide us and put us in the right place at the right time to meet the right people, and also to put us in the best possible situations to bring protection and give us everything that we need. And so it is. We are in the 9th chapter of The Millionaire from Nazareth. We're in the 9th chapter. So then we have one more after this, and then we'll be finished with The Millionaire from Nazareth. And I think we will move into The Millionaire from Genesis. So I'll begin to tell you about that book as well. So we're on chapter 9, and we're talking today about the Prosperous Mite, one of the world's mightiest financial transactions. And so we will be continuing out of chapter 9. I want to thank all of you for definitely being on the call. We're still, I'm still trying to figure out how I want to still operate, because we're still going to Clubhouse. So I'm trying to figure out which days, and, I'll let you guys know. But we're still going to be operating and moving into Clubhouse and then also Patreon. So on Patreon, we will be getting, you'll be able to see live videos of me. I'll be having special guests. So, we've been talking to Michael Beckwith. We've been talking to Carlton Pearson, doing interviews, doing teachings. So I'll be pairing up with some of the likes of them. And then also I'll be bringing on credit repair experts, financial experts with the Bitcoins and so forth. And we'll be getting into stocks, stock experts, giving us the stock picks of the week. So we'll be getting into all those kind of things that will definitely give us the knowledge and wisdom. As we move into these trying times or times that are uncertain, one of the greatest things that we can all appreciate is the divine wisdom. Wisdom is going to be our greatest asset in this time, because wisdom is going to allow us to make the right moves, to operate, to move, to transcend. It's going to show us when to go, when to stop, when to stay back. It's going to show us how to maneuver. It's going to show us how to transition through the different things that we've been going through. So I'm excited about being connected to divine wisdom, because wisdom is one of the most important assets that we all should be connecting with. Wisdom. We don't need money, we need wisdom. Because with wisdom, we'll show you not only how to get money, but what to do with the money, how to keep money, how to multiply your money. Wisdom will show you how to start the business, how to keep the business going, how to expand the business. Wisdom will show you how to get into a relationship, how to keep the relationship, how to manifest the relationship and keep it viral and keep it in good hands and good rapport. Same thing with a marriage. Wisdom. We all need wisdom in every aspect of our lives. And it is wisdom that will give us these opportunities that we are all searching for. We're in chapter 9 this morning, and we're looking at the Prosperous Mite. The road to permanent, enduring riches begins with might. The story of the Prosperous Mite is described right here in these 4 scriptures. And it says here, and he sat down over against the treasury and beheld how the multitude cast money into the treasury, and many that were rich cast in much. And there came a poor widow, and she cast in 2 mites, which with making a feathering. And when he called unto the disciples and said unto them, Verily I say unto you, this poor widow cast in more than all they that are casting into the treasury. For they all did cast in of their superfluity, but she of her want did cast in all she had, even all her living. That's out of Mark 12:41 through 44, also Luke 21:1 through 4. So we see here where we are that they were casting money into the treasury. They were giving, and the rich people were giving much. The poor widow woman gave all that she had. So in the eyes of Jesus, the woman who gave the least still gave more because she gave all that she had. So really, the conception of this situation states that it doesn't matter what you give. Your giving depends on what you have left over after you give. And so this woman gave her all. She gave everything that she had. And because of that, we're talking about the prosperous mite. We're talking about the prosperous mite. When she dramatically shared her 2 mites, this fearless widow was going all the way. That second mite, in an effort to activate her prosperity, she knew that supply could be made to increase through sharing. When you understand the concept of sharing, you begin to see that this woman, this widow woman, which we'll get into, the significance. Whenever the Bible talks about somebody, they usually give them a name. When the Bible gives somebody a name, it's usually their nature, the state of consciousness. We understand that every name has a meaning to it. But they didn't give this woman a name. They just called her the poor widow. They first examined her condition, that she was poor, but then that she was a widow, which means her husband died. But poor, as I've always said, even though it says that she's poor, on the physical side, she's poor, but her being poor is because of her poverty mindset. If a person is poor, that's why Reverend Knight used to teach us all the time, the best way to help the poor is don't be one. So don't be poor. Don't allow yourself to be in a situation or a circumstance that you are allowing yourself to be poor. Being poor is a mindset. Poverty and prosperity are 2 sides of the same coin. They're 2 sides of the same coin. And if we're going to get out of poverty, we have to change our mindset. We got to change our level of consciousness. Poverty is a state of consciousness. And, you know, a lot of us are looking for something deep to, when we're looking for changes in our lives, we're looking for, we're looking for so many different things to take place, right? We're looking for our lives to change. We want better situations. And we're looking for this magical, deep, mystical thing that's supposed to happen when the thing that we need to do is very simplistic. It's not a hard thing to do. And I think that when we look at this situation here in chapter 9 about this woman giving, she gave all. And by her giving her all, it now allows her to change her circumstance. For every need, we sow a seed. She gave the 2 mites the 2 mites she had probably wasn't enough to really help her with her situation or pay her bills. And so we see here the importance of how this woman is we're going to see the importance of her story and what can we learn, what golden nuggets can we learn out of her giving, the prosperous mite, how she began to give these 2 mites, and Jesus declared that the 2 mites she gave was more than any of the rich people had given. And he began to get into the significance of it, as we shall see. Because she feels depressed, deprived of something, she's a widow. So the word widow in this would be a belief in lack. She feels separated from her good. You know, back in those times, they would look at the widows or put the widows in a very strange situation. They wouldn't be able to do a lot of things that they normally would do. Their husbands were the breadwinners. The husbands would, handle all the finances and so forth. So as a widow, she's somewhat constrained and really kind of left out, so to speak. So what happens here, as I just said, when a husband dies, leaving no male here, his prosperity automatically went not to the widow, but to his nearest male relative. In some instances, a widow was allowed to become the custodian of property on the condition that a male guardian transact the business for her. So we see here how the widows were taken care of and what the rule was, that it didn't automatically go to the widow. It went to the nearest male relative if they didn't have a son. We see here, so we see the situation like this. Here's the widow woman in a situation like this. How many of us have been in situations where we've been left out? We don't have the resources that we think we should have. We feel like we're capable of doing a lot of different things, but because of the situations at hand, now this situation is perfect because now here we go. This was the customs of the times, and what we're looking at now does not necessarily happen in our lifetime, but during that time, this is how they treated the widows. This is a situation to where I told you that no matter what's happening on the outside, you have the ability to create your own reality regardless. We're going to see here how, even in this situation that this widow is in, how she's going to be able to find and create her prosperity miracle. Because if we look at the situation she's going through, these are some very tough situations to deal with, that your husband, who you've been married to, who you've been connected to, this is your flesh of your flesh, blood of your blood. This is one who you've laid with for years and had children and created and done so many things with. And now that he's transitioned, they're now telling you that his properties, his finances, his prosperity can no longer be transmitted to you as the wife, but has to go to the nearest relative who's a male. But we will see here how one is able to create their own reality. This was no ordinary widow. It is true that she was in a state of lack and separated from her supply, but through her rather drastic act of giving away her 2 last mites, woman was trying to overcome that belief in lack and poverty-stricken results that belief had caused her thus far. So here we're going to see how one creates the ability to create their own reality. Now, this woman didn't have access to her husband's finances. She didn't have access to his properties. It said that at some point, in some conditions or some situations, the wife was allowed to be the custodian of the property, but the business transactions had to be done by a male. So she couldn't even do the business transactions, but she still could have been the custodian over the property. I see here that this woman believed that by giving, she would be able to create and get herself out of the situation that she was in. Now, I'll tell you this, before anybody gives, that's why I say this. If there's anybody on this call, there's 14 people on here right now. If there's anybody on this call that's ever been stuck, that's ever been in a tight situation, and the first thing we do is we always go into the physical realm to try to handle or find a solution to the problem. The first thing you must always want to do is go up. You want to always go to another level of consciousness to get the solution of what you need to do. Now, this woman gave her last 2 mites. Before she even decided to do that, she had to go within, and divine spirit had to give her the directions to say, this is what you need to do. I believe that everything that you need to get out of the situation that you're in is right within you. Everything. The concept of being able to transcend my life, to transform one's life, has to be in retrospect of you alternating or going to a higher level of consciousness. Now, she was considered a widow, and we know the concept of what the widow meant. But in spite of that, she was still able to transcend and say that there is another way that I can still make my life what I need it to be. Listen what she was doing right here. She was saying, I am no longer going to let life live me. I'm going to live my life. I'm not concerned about the circumstances that were given to me. I'm not concerned about what people think about me. But I believe that I have the ability to create my own reality, and that's exactly what she did. Most of us get into a widowed state of mind at some point in our lives. Many of us are still trying to raise out of the belief and lack that the woman or the widow woman symbolized a feeling of being separated from your good, a feeling of being without worldly protection or power. Like the widow, you need to do something drastic, first in your thinking, then in your actions, in order to raise your consciousness out of the state of limitation. The only limitations we would ever face is the limitations of your mind. And when we look at that, what does that look like? Limitations, lack, loss. There is no limitations. There is no lack. The only lack, loss, and limitations you will ever experience will be that in your mind. Will be that in your mind. And if you can learn how to overstand and get to a place where you're not allowing the outward manifestations, the outward things that are going on to dictate to you how to live. And it's ironic that we're talking about this. I got the word today that we're operating in balance. And what we're looking at now is the widow woman finding a place where she can find balance in her life. She's been separated from her good. She's out of balance. And so she's connected on the spiritual realm, but she's been separated from the physical ramifications or the physical possessions and the physical things that are coming out of her manifestations. So what she needs to do is find balance, because when you find the balance, you'll be able to connect on the spiritual side and the physical side as one. We have often thought of a mite as a small amount worth practically nothing when you think about a small little mite. Yet, in this instance, the mite was one of the most prosperous gifts because it was her all. She gave all that she had. And I don't know if there's anybody on this call who's ever given all, who's ever given everything, who's ever given all of their time, who's ever given all of their energy into something. And to say, listen, the only thing I can do is be there to support you, to give my energy, my effort, to help you, to put this into perspective, to give your all. The prophet Khalil, I like him. He says here, there are those who give little of much, which they have. They give it for recognition, and their hidden desire makes their gifts unwholesome. And there are those who have little and give all. They are the believers in life and the bounty of life, and their coffer is never empty. It is well to give when asked, but it's better to give unasked. Through understanding, to withhold is to perish. I like the Prophet Khalil, how he breaks that down. It's always good to give when asked, but it's also better to give when not asked. So we see here the mystery, the powers of giving. Now, we talk about giving all the time. We talk about releasing. We talk about how when you release the seed or you give, you're actually allowing yourself to fall into balance. Why? Because when we give, we're giving money. Money is spirit. Now I'll tell you this. Money is God in action. That's what money is. Money is God in action. But there's a spiritual connotation to money as well as a physical connotation to money. And so when we are releasing money, we're actually finding ourselves in a place of balance because we're operating on the spiritual realm and the physical realm at the same time. As you bless the money that you give away, you discover that the money that comes to you in return will do many things for you which you would not have dreamed it could. When the word of blessing is placed upon tangible objects, those objects are then surrounded with the quickening power of divine substance, causing that substance to work in its multiplying power for good through every phase of your life. We always say when we get to the end of we give, we operate in circulation, which means that when we circulate, when we give, it circulates back to us. We never spend, but we circulate because we realize that it's 100-fold return. Whatever I release is coming back to me. When you give, what you're doing is you're actually allowing yourself to operate on the spiritual and the physical realm at the same time. You're actually opening up that portal so that now you can walk and operate in a level of balance. So when that 100-fold return comes back, guess what? It's coming back 100-fold return, which means the 100-fold return is coming back on the spiritual realm and the physical realm all together at the same time. Which means that you may have dreams, you may have visions, you may get ideas. Those ideas would then begin to operate and put you in positions to receive money in the tangible realm. Partnerships, businesses, all kind of things will begin to open up to you. Your money will do far more for you than you thought possible when you bless the good that you have, bless the good you want and expect to have. I believe that you should bless everything that you do. Everything that you put your hands to do should be blessed. Everything that you put your hands to do will be made manifest in perfect ways, and so it is. I believe that we are in a place where we're getting ready to see that the power of blessing everything. When you sow a seed, when every time you release money, you need to bless that seed. You need to name that seed and bless it, because what you're doing is you're going to allow it to really manifest and open up some doors for you. It's going to really begin to operate and move into some things and operate and open up some things for you. And so a lot of times people will say, some people would say, well, you know what? I'm in a bind right now, and I need to get out of this bind financially. And let's say they only have $200 and they need $1,000. And so I would say to them, well, you don't have $1,000. You have the $200. The $200 is not enough for you to get to where you need to be. So I would actually name that seed. I would put that seed in the ground and allow it to bring me into a place where I will be able to financially get the $1,000 and more to do the things that I need to do. Because we understand that the power of giving, the power of releasing and putting those funds into the atmosphere, into the universe. And so we're getting ready to see some things happening where you will definitely see how this how she was able to pretty much change her whole life by giving. By giving. And as you see that, we need to remind ourselves daily of the great prosperity laws of life, because repetition is the mother of wisdom. Repetition. Being able to constantly operate in repetition as far as what we're doing, our affirmations, our meditations, staying connected to source, how to operate, how to move. And so we get to see here how this woman becomes blessed now, because she gave her last two. Jesus said that it was the greatest offering out of everybody. She understood the concept that I don't have enough to do it, I need to do it, but this what I do have, I'm going to give it. I'm going to get a 100-fold return. But not only that, it's going to allow me to operate in balance. Right now, my life is out of balance. Is there anybody's life on this call who's out of balance? Anybody's life who feels like their life is a seesaw? One day it's up, the next day it's down. One day it's up, the next day it's down. One day it's up, the next day is down. It seems like my life is all over the place. I try to get this part of my life together, and then this part falls apart. And then I try to get that part put together, and then this part over here falls apart. And so we got to find balance. Balance. And when you find balance, balance gives you the ability to operate in so much clarity, and gives you the ability to operate in a place where you will see things happening like never before. So the word balance means the state of having your weight spread equally so you do not fall. It says the ability to move or remain in a position without losing control or falling. A state in which different things occur in equal or proper amounts, or have an equal or proper amount of importance. Physical equilibrium, right? The ability to find one balance so you do not fall, you do not lose control, you do not lose your stability. The balance is a state of consciousness. And that's what we're operating in the month of October, the state of consciousness of balance. We're operating in balance. That balance is a state of consciousness, which means that if you are operating in the state of consciousness of balance, that means everything in your life has to become in alignment with what you're operating in consciousness with. I'm operating in balance, which means if I'm an entrepreneur, if I have a business, I want to be able to have balance in my clientele, with my clients. I want to have balance in my personal life, with my family, with my spouse. I want to have balance with my children, with my parents. I want to have balance in my spirituality. I want to have balance in my health. We definitely want balance in our health. And so we want to make sure that our health and everything in our systems are operating correctly. And so if we're finding the balance in our health, a lot of times the body will let you know when there's a out of balance, when there's no balance in the body, right? When something has falling off balance, the body lets you know, maybe through pain, maybe through headache, maybe through something that is not right or irregular with the body. It lets you know that something is off balance. And so now we go in to find out how things are in balance. The bodies consist of many systems: the circulatory system, the skeletal system. It's consistent of many different systems. But any time any one of those systems in your body is off track, there is a systematically unbalancing there. We look at the unbalancing in every aspect. Now, I told you guys back on our last call about the new moon. I said the new moon will be October the 6th. I told you guys you will see some things happening with the new moon. Last time we had with the new moon. But then I also talked about Mercury retrograde. When the Mercury retrograde happened, I told you guys, I believe it was September 27th. Told you guys that you would see situations happening with communication. We see what happened with the Facebook and Twitter and the Instagram and all that stuff, and that happened last retrograde as well. And we see how things happening with the with what's going on in our solar system, so to speak, right? But as above, so below. Everything happens in balance. As within, so without. If there's an unbalancing in my body on my spiritual realm, there's going to be an unbalancing in my physical reality. So those of you on the call that says, hey, my life is like a seesaw. One day it's up, one day it's down, lets me know that you're not operating out of a consciousness of balance. And so you've got to get to a place where you can now that you know where you are, you can say, I got to make some changes. Because the changes that I need to see in my physical reality have to first begin on the inside first. They have to first begin on the inside. I like this affirmation. It says, all the wealth that the universe has for me now comes to me speedily, richly, and freely. All the wealth that the universe has for you. The universe has a lot of stuff for you, but sometimes it's being delayed because we're not in position to receive it, especially if we're not in balance. You know, I ask people all the time, if somebody gave you $1 million today, what would you do with it? And many of us, we probably would end up losing $1 million within 6 months to a year because we're not balanced. We're not operating in balance. So the off balance will put us in a situation to where we wouldn't be able to maintain it. It's not about giving it to you, but what are you going to do with it? How can you maintain it? How could you grow it and make it bigger or multiply it? We're entering into a season where it's time for us to really expand our consciousness, to really move into a place of really not just listening to these tapes, not listening to the calls, not buying the books, but starting to apply these things to our lives. And when I say apply, I mean that's where you get the power. That's where you get to see the demonstration of things take place with the application of it, not just the reading of it, not just the hearing of it, but like the Bible says, be ye doers of the word, not just hearers of the word, but doers of the word. To be able to hear the word, speak the word, but also do the word. And so when we move into that, we will see the dynamic changes that will take place. The widow woman knew that no place is barren of supply. Right where you are, you can be prospered. Right where you are. Those of you on this call right now, right where you are, you can prosper where you are. You're giving, you can give your way out of anything. You can give your way out of anything, any situation, any circumstance. You can give your way out of it. The widow knew that the way to overcome lack was to keep her supply in circulation by sending it out, giving first. When you put God first financially, that opens the way for him to put you and your business affairs first financially. The mental agreement that is already yours is the power that you need to get the results. Giving thanks in advance, already giving thanks and praise blessing your giving, blessing your seed, giving things in advance for what's getting ready to come. The power of expectation. The power of expectation. These millionaire principles, the Millionaire Bible series, these principles, when we operate and use them and begin to really work with them, we'll see ourselves really expanding and growing in ways we couldn't imagine. I watch and listen to Reverend Israel talk about how the times that we're getting ready to come into, and people need to start buying like motels and short stays and all those things, and getting into all that stuff. And it's absolutely 100% correct with the ways that things are moving and operating. But we also want to make sure that those of you who are entrepreneurs and who are business owners and so forth, that we are operating digitally as well, that we're making sure that we're operating and creating digital products, whether it's ebooks, audios, whether it's videos, courses, being able to create digital stuff that we can be, because we're moving in more and more into that digital age. And then we say this all the time, no more brick and mortar, it's click and order. No more brick and mortar, it's click and order. And what I'm seeing now, everybody's clicking. Oh, Amazon, order this, order this. You order something from Amazon, it's on your doorstep the next day. Within 24 hours, 24 to 48 hours, what you ordered is on your doorstep. So we're moving into the click and order time. And with that being said, when you're operating your businesses, let's make sure that we are still operating and keeping in fact of the digital bubble that we're going into, or that we're already in now. We're already operating out of that. We're seeing everything happen like that. I'm hearing that Walmart is getting ready to get into the whole thing like Amazon, where you order something from Walmart online, you have it in 24 to 48 hours and so forth. And I see now that credit is becoming vitally important now. And I'm going to be working, I should have some stuff set up this week. And those of you that wanted to move it to the credit repair, we get into that. I've been talking to Will Roundtree, who is a good friend of mine. He is one of the most trusted names in credit repair. He's doing very well. He's an author. The majority of his videos on YouTube are 1 million views plus. He's created his own car dealership. I mean, he's basically shown you how to leverage your credit, how to do so many different things. And then personally with me, he's done some amazing things too that I will share when we get on the call. What I'm going to try to do is get him on the call, and then I'll have a lot of you come on the call. You can ask him questions. He can give you some things, some pointers on what to do in certain situations with your credit. And you can reach out to him. But the reason why I bring up the credit now is because I see how things are shifting. So Walmart used to do a layaway plan, and now they're not doing layaway anymore. They're doing something called a firm. So what that means, what a firm is you can buy now and pay later. So no longer do you do layaway. You go on a firm, you sign up, and basically what they do is they run your credit and see if you're eligible to be a part of a firm. If you are part of it and you are able to be in it, you can order anything, and what happens is you would order it, and then they would go ahead and send it out, and then you would just do the monthly payments until you pay it off. And so that's what Walmart is doing now. And so it's really hurting a lot of people, because most of the people who did the layaway may not have had good credit. And now they're no longer doing the layaway plan anymore. So now they're working their firm, but you have to have pretty decent or good credit to be involved in that. and just showing you. I'm bringing this up just to show you where we're moving to now. And so the Affirm is an app. You download the app, and Affirm has stores, all kind of stores on there. They have Gucci, Louis Vuitton. They have Apple. You can buy an Apple computer and pay for it later. All of these things are on Affirm. Affirm is just an app. And based on this app, you're able to buy and pay later from all of these major stores that they have. So just to see where things are moving and going into with credit, we've got to get ourselves in position to play the game. And so I'm going to be working very swiftly this week to get with Will and see if we can get him on a call, and I'll have you guys come on. Maybe we could do a Zoom call and have you guys jump on. And those of you, a lot of you have been reaching out to me about the credit, so I've been talking to him, and just getting with him on that. He's done some amazing things to me, which I will share with you once we get on the call with him, about how really knowledgeable he is about credit and some of the things that, a lot of us don't know about regarding credit. I'll just give you one thing that he's done. It's something called credit card redlining. And credit card redlining is, a lot of times we are applying for credit, we're using where we live. And in the credit card industry, the companies, they create something called the credit card red line, which means that they know based on your zip code where you live and what part of the city or state you're in. And based on that, that's how they determine what your credit limit will be. Has nothing to do with your credit score. So if you were to use an address of where Millionaires live, it would automatically change your credit limit. And just to let you know, I did that and it worked. In San Antonio, it worked. It's called credit card redlining. And it had nothing to do with my credit score, but it had to do with my address, my zip code. The zip code that I used to apply for the credit card was in a vicinity of where the San Antonio Spurs played at, which means that where the Millionaires lived at. And based on that address, I was able to get a significant amount as a credit limit that I normally wouldn't have gotten if I used the zip code and the address where I lived. So, like I said, there's a lot of different things that we're going to learn about credit, and we need to put ourselves in positions to have leverage to use credit and really, really work it and really get some things going on. So, don't know why I'm going this way. Somebody on here needs to hear this. There's 19 people on the call now, so out of you 19, somebody needed to hear that. But I will be working with Will. I'm going to reach out to him on Monday, tomorrow, and we will definitely connect with him so that we can have him put us in the right place at the right time, give us the wisdom we need and the understanding, the overstanding we need on how to operate out of credit. And, what Will does also is he helps you get your personal credit together so that he can show you how to get your business credit together. And what he does is, once he gets your personal credit together, he gets your business credit together, and then he gets you anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000 of business credit, and you're able to invest in your business. He recommends that you get into real estate. And so, this is a lot of different things that you can do with credit. So as far as leveraging it and the many different facets of it. But to say that is to say that we are in a place now where we're going to be operating this month of October in balance. We're going to be operating out of balance. We want to see balance in every aspect of our lives. Balance. Balance in our health. I hope everybody on this call is continuing to strengthen your immune system. We're in the fall now. This is a time of flu, of colds. The weathers are changing. It's getting cooler now, so we need to make sure that we're building our immune system, that we're taking our zinc, silver, whether you're taking the vitamin D, making sure that we are building our immune system. Whether you're vaccinated or not vaccinated, we need to make sure that we are building our immune system. We are in the time now where we need to operate out of wisdom. We don't operate out of fear. We don't operate out of uncertainty. We operate out of wisdom. And so as we move and operate into that, we're moving into that. Those of you that will join us in our circulation seed, Spirit gave me this number on yesterday, and I've been working with it. And the number is $22.22. 2222. 2222 is the number of manifestation. As it is in heaven, so shall it be in earth. Metaphysically, the word heaven means your mind. As we learned on the Lord's Prayer, as it is in heaven, so shall it be on earth, which means that everything that you create in consciousness, that you create in your imagination, will be made manifest in your physical reality. The 2222 seed is the seed of manifestation. It is the seed that will begin to allow you to find balance, but also will allow you to start getting the ideas that will start allowing you to get ideas that will allow you to open up, as we say, launch out into the deep, catch the first fish you see, open his mouth and take the money out, right? But it will give you the opportunity to really see some things opening forth and really coming into a place. I love the fall. The fall to me is the harvest time, right? It's the time where we see all the leaves on the floor. We're getting ready for Halloween, and it's just that festival time. But I love the coolness of it. I love the weather of the fall, and moving into that into that season. But you have to understand this, that as we are moving in the seasons of changing physically, we also have our seasons changing spiritually. And so we got to decide or really determine what season are we in. And when you determine what season you're in, it will determine how you're going to be able to maneuver and elevate in this season that we're going into right now. We told you a while back to start preparing for 2022. 2022 is going to be a year in the United States that will deal with real estate, that will deal with families, more of a family dynamic. It will also deal with a lot of changing in the what's the word I want to use, in the laws and statutes and different things that are going to be placed. And you're going to see a lot of changes again happen in next year like you did now, but even more so than before. But then you'll see things kind of change dramatically again in 2023. And then in 2024, we'll see things start really maneuvering and opening up. What we're going to see is the great unravel of what's been brewing. America as we know it will not be the same. The things that we're accustomed to seeing and doing and having, the way that we've been able to operate will now begin to change. So still, with all of that said and being done, it still does not stop us from being, doing, and having all that we desire. It still does not stop us from creating our own reality. And so I want to encourage all of you that are going to do the $22.22 seed this morning, the circulation seed, that when you release it, it will return to you 100-fold return. It will go forth, and it will do that which you sent it to do. Those of you that want to sow that seed, it's going to be, there's 4 ways that you can give. You can give at Cash App, which is going to be $TOESC, Temple of Enlightenment Spiritual Center. You can also go to Zelle, which is going to be Issachar Bey at gmail.com, ISSACHARBEY at gmail.com. We also have PayPal, which is also going to be Issachar Bey at gmail.com, ISSACHARBEY at gmail.com. And then we have Venmo, which is going to be the @ at Issachar, ISSACHAR -Bey, BEY. So those are the 4 ways you can sow your manifestation seed of $22.22. And so when you put that seed in the ground, I want you to name that seed, whatever your need is, whatever it is that you need, whether it's health, protection, whether it's balance, whether it's stability, whatever it is that you need, I want you to name that seed and put it in the ground. Don't forget, tonight at 9 p.m., we will be on the call listening to the master teacher, Reverend Israel Malik Esters. He will be on tonight. We're excited about the word on Sunday nights, which I love. I'm a night person anyway, so I love staying up at night, and to be able to sit down and listen to him will be definitely a great thing to do tonight. So I'm really looking forward to that. And we also will continue to do the Wednesday Lessons in Wisdom as well. So this Wednesday coming, we will also do that. I won't know if it's too early to get Will on for this Wednesday, but I will let all of you know. And then if we do, I will open up the lines where you guys can ask some questions and stuff. But I will reach out to him Monday and let's see what we can do. But if not, I will let you guys know. So definitely, I want to definitely commend all of you for being on the call, all 19 of you. Thank you for sowing the seed, the manifestation seed of $22.22. And before we end the call, I'd like to say this one thing. Your destiny is not a matter of chance, but it's a matter of choice. And until we meet again, have a great day.